Hey everybody, welcome to the All2ReelToo podcast. This is your host Michael E. Cullen II, and with me as always is my co-host.
No, it's me.
Yeah.
It's Matt.
Matthew Haas.
Matthew Haas, sorry.
Yes, okay. Anyways, and today we have a very special episode. We are going to be talking about some great innovation in the world of video games. We have a special guest, Jamal Wallace Knight, and he is the host of what's the name of your YouTube channel that you host now? With
it's called Gaming After Dark.
Yeah, and so Gaming After Dark with Jamal, and so what topic did you bring us this week here to discuss and to illuminate the minds of both Matt and I and the audience?
Okay, well, something I wanted to bring to you all is I'm going to take you all back in time a little trip in time when the world was simpler. What I like to do, basically back in the early 90s, back in 1994, before we had, smartphones and before we had smartphones, before we had social media and, YouTube and I know there's probably some millennial hearing this, like going, "Oh my God, how did they survive out there?" But such horrible terrain conditions. But we had to talk to people. But
back when we rode dinosaurs to school, and
man, yeah,
yeah,
had a little rotary phone and stuff. But back in 1994, there was a lot of innovative things in the world of pop culture, as you know. Amazon was founded, and so was Yahoo at the time. Sony PlayStation in Japan was released back in 94.
Oh, wow.
Sadly, Kurt Cobain had passed, had committed suicide that year too. Something also, now kind of a question I have for you all. Did any of you guys ever have a Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis back then?
Mm-hmm. I had both.
I had
Genesis first. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I had neither.
Okay. All right. It's okay. I don't judge.
I will tell you this. The last video game system I owned was the original NES.
Okay.
I am not a gamer, so this is really interesting to me, but I love the history of video games. So I'm very interested in this. As I'm wearing my Pac-Man shirt.
I was telling him, too, because he said you had a Centipede one.
Yeah, I was debating between my Pac-Man and my Centipede shirt because I figured I'd wear a video game shirt just for good luck today. And
so I said, you can let me wear the Centipede one. So
oh, my lordy.
But yeah, I had a Genesis first, and then 2 years later, Super Nintendo.
Okay.
So my first, even though I like them both, I think probably my favorite is Genesis because that was the first 16-bit system I had.
Nice. I had a Sega Genesis in 93 because my parents got tired of my brother and I fighting over Nintendo. So Nintendo was for my brother. He had the NES, and I had a Sega Genesis. You probably know everybody still to this day argues about both systems, which one's the greatest. Sega had great graphics. Super Nintendo had a great selection of games. But, there was one thing that both of these systems had in common. They both had the capability to play online games.
Interesting. In 1994.
In 1994, they had that. We even though we barely had the internet, but that was still capable. So basically, there was a company out in Cupertino, California, called Catapult Entertainment. And they created this modem that you basically attach to your system called the XBand. So before there was Xbox, we had XBand. So at the time, of course, as you know, we did not have broadband for everybody or anything like that. So you would basically put the modem into the system, put the game connecting to it, and then on the side of it, you would hook your phone line into it. When this company first started, a little bit about Catapult Entertainment, when they started, they had a very small staff when they started. They had less than 50 people when they started their company. They didn't even have an advertising team when they first started. So the only way how the word of it got out was they actually placed ads in video game magazines like Electronic Gaming Monthly, Game Pro at the time, magazines like that. That's how they got the word out. In 94, it was on the Sega Genesis system. And then about a year later, about 6 months later, going to 95, that's when they got on the Super Nintendo. at the time, they wanted to actually have it built in the Sega Genesis, just like how you have your systems now already built in. But at the time, Sega Japan was a different entity than Sega of America, so they said no, they didn't want to do that, and that's why I created the peripheral device for it. So
cool.
That's cool.
Kind of like a Game Genie sort of thing, where you put the something like that. Okay.
Was it? Did you put it like in the disk drive of the thing, or where'd you put it, or did it hook up to like a peripheral, or how did it hook up?
Yeah, the XBand itself was a peripheral. So like before you would put the game in first, like in the system.
Yeah.
You would first put it right in the top loading tray of the system first.
Oh, okay. So like in the disk drive thing or whatever you call it, the top loading disk. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and I mean, if I do remember playing, I will bring this up. I did play Super Nintendo once when I was a kid. Back when I was down in Florida, I played some Super Mario Brothers game on there. That I remember that, but I do remember my friend Mike, when we were kids, had the Genesis, and I used to go over there as much as I possibly could. And I remember playing like that what was that? That Echo the Dolphin game.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I loved that game. It was so stupid, but it was good.
It's awesome though.
You're not stupid, because I had that game too when I was a kid. So just wanted to say that. Okay. Yes, I had that game too. Well, after it started getting popularity, with the XBand system, they actually had it also in Japan at the same time it was launched in America. It wasn't doing that well in Japan, so they eventually cut the life expectancy short for it there in Japan, but it grew here in the United States.
Yeah.
More people were getting on the internet. The internet was becoming new for everybody. So, their market started to increase. By the end of 1995, they had a network. They had a little over, I'd say, almost 50,000 subscribers to their network.
Oh wow,
which was a lot back then.
Yeah, back then that's probably
especially just for one, thing like video games, like not just in general, but all the people doing that just for one thing. That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. So it increased there to that. They were able to almost virtually reach almost every rural and metropolitan home across America, basically. Because back then everybody had a landline and everybody had a phone line, so they were able to reach out to people that way.
Did you have to get like an internet service provider type thing at that time before getting it or anything? Like, do you know if you had to like sign up for AOL or anybody before you did this?
No. Actually, they didn't have that because it was the internet, but it wasn't the internet, how the service was set up. Basically the service, service was actually pretty cheap. Just signing up for it was like $10 a month, to sign up for. But the problem was that over time, because of it being long distance and you had companies that charged long distance, that racked up people's phone bills, and you were paying like per minute for like long distance because it was considered a long distance call.
Oh,
so,
I see.
Yeah.
So it's $10 a month for the getting onto their network, but you still had to pay your phone company.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah. But then, but with this system though, like the way it would work, like if I wanted to play Echo the Dolphin thingy and I wanted to play it with my friend in California, I could.
You could.
Yeah.
You could do that. But the only thing is just be ready to pay. Well, depending on how long you were playing the game for, like if you were on for like half an hour, 45 minutes, that might cost you a pretty penny.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
That's cool. It's cool that you're paying more like that.
No, it's just cool. It's cool that you can play together. I mean, back then, but I mean, it kind of sucks that it costs so much though. I mean, it does. It's like, I don't know, but when things are new, it's just cool that you were able to do it, I think. I mean, but when things are new, they're going to cost more. I mean, it's like, I mean, I remember how much, flat screen TVs were just a few years ago and stuff, it's,
Oh yeah. One of the things, XBand would have probably stayed on longer and probably could have adapted to the modern era, like with broadband. But what their big downfall is that a lot of customers that they had they actually started dropping their long distance service to their landline. So basically XBand had to like switch gears in the middle of their planning and business, and then switch to just local only area, gaming. So like you could only play with folks that within, your city or certain radius after a while, which that led to their downfall, and they actually started dropping members after that point.
Wow. We'll learn a little bit more about this later. We could just take a really quick break for a word from our sponsors. Yeah, products and services or whatever we're going to talk about here. I'm sure they're great, You know what also is great? This Mountain Dew I'm drinking right now. So, hey, people at PepsiCo, if you would like to sponsor this show, please contact me. My email is mike@cullenpark.com. I do love your Mountain Dew.
Me too. I'm wearing a Pepsi t-shirt right now, actually.
Yes. So,
and I've got Mountain Dew as well.
Yes. So Matt's drinking a Code Red. I'm drinking a regular Mountain Dew. Hey, I'm just saying, if you want to sponsor us, I'm all for it. Mike@cullenpark.com. Okay, we'll be right back.
In the magical world of Hoth, there are wizards, there are sorcerers, and there are magi. And none of them know what they're doing.
That's how the best spells are discovered. Throw it at the wall and read the tea leaves. Or scorch marks.
Witness the wonders of magic, science, and property damage in a radio drama of phantasmical proportions.
Face my mastery over the elements!
Magus Ilgar. Now available for download wherever audiobooks are sold. Listen to the first 3 episodes for free on YouTube.
Hi, folks. This is Michael E. Cullen II from the podcast that you're listening to right now, along with
manager Matthew Haas.
You got promoted?
Yes.
Damn it. Okay. Anyways, folks, do you like the show Superstore? I don't know. I asked the folks and nobody's answering me.
Because they're not here.
Oh,
but we love
damn
it.
Yeah, we love it, though. Okay, folks, if you like it as much as we do, you're really going to like the Super Story podcast, which is a podcast where Matthew and I go episode by episode and give our little opinions and thoughts on it. Sometimes we have guests, sometimes we don't. Just depends on how we're feeling.
Yeah.
And, so if you like this podcast and like our little crazy banter,
then you should definitely check this out. Or I might get sad. And when I get sad, it gets pretty sad.
yeah,
So
I can't deal with him when he's sad.
yeah, no one can really. So
Yeah. So check out Super Story Podcast right here where you get this podcast, Super Story Podcast.
Okay, those were some great ads, weren't they, Matt?
Yeah.
Which one was your favorite? The first one or the second one?
The second one.
We may have only played one though, so
It was the first one then.
Oh, okay.
I like all of them.
There you go.
I like all of them.
So yeah, we totally listened to him, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like the one that had sugar stuff in it.
Sugar
Stuff. Oh no.
sugar stuff.
Like a product that's got sugar in it.
Yes,
So I like
that one was pretty sweet.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, so
Oh, sorry.
back to the XBand. XBand, man, it's so 90s sounding.
It does.
It is.
It does. It makes you feel like 90s right there.
Skateboard right here.
Yeah, it's like everything's extreme, man.
I feel like Tommy Chung. Dave's not here, man.
Everybody's drinking Mountain Dew. Yes, Mountain Dew. I love Mountain Dew. Oh yeah. Anyways, so we're back. So what else you got to tell us here about the XBand there, Jamal?
Well, okay, so I will say this much, and this is kind of a personal commentary. In 1994, I was only 10, going on 11 years old at the time. So
Okay, we get it. You're young.
yeah,
I'm joking.
I was young then, but old now. Old now, definitely. But, so for a lot of folks, like for a lot of kids, like back then, seeing that X Band was like something really awesome and cool. But then you may have had the parents that said, no, just like my parents. But
Yeah.
so they actually did have some options. What Catapult Entertainment did, they actually made a brokerage deal with like rental stores and rental companies to where you could actually go and rent the X-Band modem. They actually had that opportunity back then too. So
That's cool.
Yeah, so you can go down to your Blockbuster, Video Connection.
Blockbuster.
Oh yeah, not the one that's in Alaska, but you could go to.
Actually, they closed in the Alaska.
shit.
There's only one open now still in the United States as of this recording. Who knows if it'll still be open, but it's like in the state of Oregon or something.
Now I've lost all reason
Yeah.
to go to Alaska
I know.
now.
Yeah.
I've lost. Okay, anyway, but yeah, Bill, back then you could go to your rental store. You could actually rent the X-Band. Back then, that's one of the reasons why, at the time, it had grew such a great popularity among people and that's how they were able to get the word out since they didn't have enough for advertising and didn't have like a full all hands on deck staff to get the word out. So.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing that they probably could have done is eventually, even though it would have probably limited their scope, would have been to like link up with Sega or Nintendo or something like that and become acquired or licensed or something, you know?
Well, it's funny you say that because they really were trying to brokerage something with some of the big, game companies at the time. Nintendo was okay right where they were at. They didn't really want to do much with X-Band. But X-Band really tried, Catapult Entertainment really tried with Sega. Now again, at the time, before the two from Sega in Japan, Sega in America, before they amalgamated, they used to have two different entities. So what one would say in Sega of America, the other side didn't agree.
Yeah.
So that was a big problem. So they always tried really hard to sell and push it. They even had the X-Band for Sega Saturn, back then.
Yeah.
So, and they just could never bridge the two together. And then Sega said no. And then eventually they created their own thing like them with Sega Net and Sega Channel. So.
And then eventually Sega died.
Yeah. And I'm going to say that for another topic.
Yeah, well, yeah, you come on again and we'll talk about that or something. But yeah, I mean, there were like precursors to this. I mean, I know you might not know much about it, but I actually listened to a show recently about the whole, what was it called? There was the guys that created AOL had something back on Atari back in the day where it was actually you could connect, and it wasn't like a thing where you played with each other, but you could download games from the internet. It was kind of like a Netflix sort of thing for video games before that. Yeah, like you would put in a special cartridge that hooked up to your phone line, and then it took hours upon hours, and later eventually you got Centipede on your system or something, and then you were renting them too. You weren't even you could only play them for a certain amount of time or hours or something, and then it would delete from your system.
And now you got a $700 phone bill for renting Centipede
for one game.
So I don't know if that charged the I think you paid like a monthly fee, and I don't think it interfered with your long distance phone bill. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But what happened with that company was that they basically when there was the video game crash of '84, they kind of just disappeared because of that. Yeah, because there was no point to that, and then they moved on and eventually created AOL.
Oh wow!
Like there was other precursors to that, but they basically became AOL eventually. A few of the guys from that company. So
yeah, and these were all great ideas. I mean, they were just like really, really ahead of their time. And we didn't think back then at that time we would have high-speed internet. We didn't think we would be able to download our movie off the internet. We didn't have that. And they had the right idea. We just didn't have the technology to match with the ideas.
I mean, it's just crazy. Like, we think when that came out, like when we were kids and stuff, and you just think about the things we can do now, like, how like right before we were recording this, we were watching David Hasselhoff videos on my TV. We wouldn't have been able to do that, like 10 years ago. So
I think even if we did have that technology, I don't think we would want to watch David Hasselhoff sing.
Why not? I think you always want to watch David Hasselhoff singing Nadia's theme from Young and the Restless on your TV. That's what you want to do. Come on.
That suit,
don't judge me. No.
That orange suit and that sweater, though. I got to get that outfit.
That nice little turtleneck sweater.
God, I got to get that and just go get invited to a cocktail party and just show up and just.
Do people have cocktail parties?
I know for a fact that some people do because I got invited to one once and I didn't go.
Really?
Yeah. That was like 5 years ago.
Okay.
That was the last party.
I don't know if I've ever been in. See, I don't drink. I don't know if that's why I don't get invited to cocktail parties.
Cocktail parties don't always have to have.
Yeah, it could be a cocktail dress.
They just call it a cocktail.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't wear the cocktail. I don't think I look good in that, but
You never know until you try, man.
Yeah.
Don't knock it till you try, brother.
What you do is you wear the dress and that David Hasselhoff sweater.
No, I'm not going to mix and match. You do one or the other.
You can't do both?
No, I don't think it would look good.
May I advise at least get the afro like he had, you know?
Did he have? That's right.
Well, he had kind of the
70s, everybody had
80s
afro.
big
He had
puffy
that's
hair.
right. Yeah,
at least.
I had to go to a salon to even. No, I don't have the hair for that. It's thick.
But get a
It's not-
wig.
it's not
Get a
thick
wig.
enough.
Get a wig.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I'm a black man. I don't have the hair, okay? So don't feel bad, all right?
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, I was. I know that there are people who do cocktail parties still. That was a weird veering off of. But
I'm just curious because I don't think I've ever been invited to a cocktail party
It was
in my
about
life.
5 years ago. My friend Dave, Dave Ailing, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to go.
I'm just curious what a
Because
cocktail party
I don't know
actually
what
is.
you do. What do you talk about at a cocktail party? Because I'm not good at parties, for one thing.
Well, it's like
The stuff I talk about is really weird shit. It's not going to fly at a cocktail party. So,
well, that might make it interesting then.
yeah, but not in a good way.
I mean, I do like the thing, like my friend was posting on Facebook the other day that he was invited to this like cocktail party mixer out in Hollywood because he's an actor out there, and he says he doesn't like talking to people, but he says you have to go around and like mix with people and basically tell them your resume and stuff like that. And I suggested to him that he prints out a T-shirt with his resume on the front and his headshot on the back. And then all he has to do is just point to the shirt and be like, here, see, I was on Criminal Minds. Like stuff like that. I'm just saying, it's like, what?
That makes sense. In the next episode, we're going to talk about the Sega cocktail party.
Yes. It was a short,
very short.
See, 'cause it was for people that didn't know what cocktail parties were like me. And you virtually went to a cocktail party through Sega.
It was before Sims even.
Yes. Yeah, we'll have a Sega cocktail party. Sonic just breezed right in and out. So, Sonic breezed right in. We didn't even see him. Tails flew in. That was it. So
Nintendo didn't do that. They had like the kid's birthday party because they're more, kid oriented.
Oh boy.
Okay. So anything else about the XBand there that you wanted to tell us here, Jamal?
Sorry, we kind of went way off topic here.
It's okay. Well, I'll say this here. Even though I know in today's time now, virtually every video game that's out has some kind of online capability that's out now. At the time, before the XBand had shut down, they're on both systems, Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, they had a total of about 36 games that were online playable. At the time, which is a large collection. I mean, that's, mega back then.
So you couldn't play like every game. It was just a limited. I mean, but how many games did they have like at the time? I mean, I don't know how many games they released for systems back then. Was it hundreds or was it?
Just to make sure clear, when you said like the launch of the system or launch
for like the systems, like for like for like not at the launch of the system, but like total like for like was there like hundreds of games for the Sega Genesis or for the Super Nintendo?
Most of the games they had that was like online playable. Like most of those were like your sports games, like Madden.
Yeah, I mean, because the thing is, you're not going to want to have like a lot of games. Some games are like one player, so you're not. There's no point to do online if you're not going to be able to play against somebody. I guess I don't know.
Right? Yeah. So they had a larger. Like I said, it was like they had a couple RPG role playing games also.
Yeah.
So they had some of those as well. One thing called Dragon Quest, I think. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, that's some of the games that they had. So they had a couple selections. So, I mean,
did they have to like? Do you know if? I mean, you might not know this, but do you know if they had to go through like the publishers of the games to get permission to put them on there? Or
yeah, and they did. They did get the blessing like from the publishers to make the games. It just all kind of came down to XBand themselves when it came to like the network and getting people to connect, because as I said earlier before our last break, that you had to pay long distance. After you connected, the connection fee was $3.95 an hour.
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
Yeah. And plus, now remember, just add that with your $10 monthly fee.
Right. Yeah.
And then if you're playing on there for an hour or so, and So
that's also in addition to the phone bill itself.
right.
Wow. So it's three different.
So you could get
things.
like if your phone was hooked up to like AT&T or something, they could charge you. Then you're getting charged the $3.95 an hour plus the $10 a month.
Right. Now,
So that could get pretty costly.
Yeah.
Right. And because remember at that time, like the phone companies couldn't decipher or distinguish, okay, this is internet, that's not going to affect you compared to talking long distance.
somebody calling their grandma in Hawaii or something. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So as far as it knew, the machine, the computer system looked at it as, oh, you're doing long distance. You're calling somebody all the way from there. So
Yeah. And was it international or just the United States? Do you know, like, if you could play like was it able to play, like, if I had a friend in Japan or something, would I be able to play with him if he had the X-Band?
At the time when they did have X-Band in Japan, at the time, yes.
Oh,
You know,
okay,
that
cool.
was capable.
So somebody in Ohio could play with somebody in, I don't know, what's
Yeah.
a Japanese city. Anyways,
Tokyo.
yes, there we go.
That's a big one.
Yes, I just blanked.
Kyoto
I
or
blanked on
something.
like
Kyoto.
every Japanese city name all of a sudden when I wanted to say it.
You can do it now. Just hope and pray that your phone bill is not like as much as your mortgage is. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Right.
saying. I mean, it might cost a lot, but yeah.
So I can imagine-
I remember how much, like long distance was back then because I remember, my grandma being livid when, one of my cousins was living with her and she had family down in Florida and she was calling them and family and friends because she grew up in Florida and she was calling these family and friends. And I remember I was like, I was in high school at the time and I think it was around the same time or maybe it was even before that, but I just remember when she ran up this phone bill and my grandma was so pissed. It was like, I never saw my grandma this mad in my life. And my grandma was a sweet lady. And I was just like, wow, grandma's mad. I just remember
Like,
that.
I'm going to go in the other room and
Yeah,
hide.
because I was like over visiting her and she was getting mad at my cousin. And I'm like, okay.
Well, I remember when we had first moved to Ohio, I had a friend of mine. She lived in Kentucky. All right. Now, at the time, I was living in Dayton, so it wasn't too far from Kentucky. Now, that was, of course, considered long distance. And we talked on the phone from like 8 o'clock until like 1:30 in the morning, from 8 p.m. to 1:30 in the
Oh
morning.
wow.
Yeah. All I wanted to be in, Azerbaijan by the time that phone bill came in and my mom opened it up. And yeah, so now you can only imagine that's what I had from Ohio to Kentucky. That's long distance and it jacked up the bill. Imagine playing a game.
And with somebody in Tokyo.
Yeah.
And plus, too, most people, like when you said 45 minutes would, rack up your phone bill, most people don't play for less than 45 minutes a day.
Right.
Yeah,
So if you're doing it every single day of the week, I mean, that's...
Yeah, you're going to play a video game a lot longer than you
you know
would
what I mean?
be talking to your friend in Kentucky or something.
Because I don't think I've ever played video games for less than a half hour in my life, to be honest with you. It's been at least... Because why even turn it on if you're going to play for 5 minutes? I mean, that's not...
the most I would play is like an hour. That's the shortest I think I probably played a game is like an hour.
Yeah.
So
That's just crazy.
Because the time just flies by. You don't even realize it. And then you're
Right.
2 hours later... Like, I just beat Simon's Quest, Castlevania, 3 hours later or whatever.
It's so awesome now with like the internet where you can contact people anywhere in the world,
Right.
Free of charge, not free of charge, but just paying your internet bill, and you're not paying extra fees on top of that usually, and then because I just remember having a girlfriend in California for a while there and talking to her on the phone, and then I imagined how much that would have cost back in the dial-up days.
Oh, yeah.
Man,
I
yeah.
know, that would have been wild.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just trying to look for that game you mentioned, the Dragon one.
Yeah,
I saw a video about it, and I'm trying to remember. It was part 3, Dragon something 3.
Well, why don't we take
Sure.
another real short break for some products and services?
Cool.
I like the products
And service.
and the services. Sometimes you can combine the two because you could have a product that services you. Wait,
Whoa,
that sounds bad.
oh,
That
yeah.
sounds dirty.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, we'll be right back, folks.
Hey, folks, this is Michael E. Cullen II from the podcast that you're listening to right now, along with
Matthew Haas.
We just wanted to tell you about our great podcast called Super. It's called All2Real. And on that show, what do we do, Matt?
We watch biopics, and then we talk about whether or not the movie matched up with the real story or not.
So
It was a lot more exciting than that, though.
Yeah, so we analyze the real story and the real story.
Get it?
Get it?
Real.
Yeah, they're spelled differently, folks. You can guess which one I said which way.
Uh-huh.
Anyways, so sometimes we have guests, sometimes we don't. But we talk about great movies like Shattered Glass and The Social Network and Futile and Stupid Gesture, among others. Those are some of the ones that we've covered so far, and we're going to cover a lot more. So please subscribe on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you find your great, fun podcasts. And be sure to share it with your friends.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
And make sure you're not afraid to get all too real. Bye-bye.
Do you like games? Obviously you do. You're listening to this episode. Just letting you know that there's a new podcast I discovered recently. It's called Games My Mom Found. It's a hilarious podcast where they review retro games each episode. We'll have some links to it in the show notes, but be sure to check it out. Everybody, we're back. Those were some great ads, weren't they, Matt?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
And so, that one line in the one, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that was a good line. It
Yeah,
was funny.
it was.
That was right. What they say, on the money? Or they used to say on the money. I don't know. What does the kids say these days?
I don't know. I don't talk to the kids.
Oh.
If you're listening, kids, I'm talking to you now, though.
I don't think they can hear you.
That's right on the money. Whatever. Yeah, it was a good ad.
They can't hear me? Am I at a different decibel level than what they can hear?
Maybe. It was a good ad. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was probably some kind of pastry of some sort, or some snack or drink or game or whatever.
Or just an ad for another one of our
Gaming After
shows.
Dark. It was an ad for Gaming After Dark.
Or an ad for one of our shows.
Gaming After Dark. Well, that's not our show, but
But yeah.
Gaming After Dark.
Gaming After Dark.
Yeah.
Thank you for free advertising.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Gaming
You're
After
welcome.
Dark. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yes. Starring Jamal.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Anyways, so what else do you got here for we couldn't find, by the way, when we were listening to those great ads, we couldn't find the name of the game that Matt was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Sadly. So what else do you got about XBand here?
Well, that's okay. Yeah, like I said, that's why I mentioned, don't quote me on the game just yet, but there was a couple other ones. Mortal Kombat 2 and 3 was an example of one of the games that was on the XBand that you could play online.
Oh, okay.
Matt and NFL, 95 and 96. Name a few. Super Mario Kart. I know everybody loves Super Mario Kart.
Yes.
And so that was also available back then. Matt, you had said something earlier about actually during our break, you had said something about, hey, maybe one day they'll have somebody show a hack on a XBand or something on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're kind of on the right track. A couple months before the XBand had shut down, there was actually a group of hackers that actually found a way to still keep service going through their game Genie.
Sweet.
Really? Interesting.
Yes, they were able to actually get that there. Like parts of access that was restricted for some people. Well, it was like a big open field basically for hackers to go through with the Game Genie because Game Genie had unlimited stuff. There's codes for this and codes for that. Well, they found a way to generate a code through the Game Genie so that you can be able to get in unrestricted access. You had access to the mail, certain servers to connect. So if one server was too slow, you could move yourself automatically to a new server and connect to that. So yeah, that was,
that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, they actually found a way to do that. So
See, that's one of the cool things about the first age of video games when it comes to the internet or any kind of software where you could even with the old NES games, you could make your own games without Nintendo even giving you permission to make it, and it would still play on it. Then they would of course find out and go, well, we gotta make some tweaks now, so you can't do that. So I like that, or it's like with the Game Genie hack thing. Right now, that would be really hard to do now because of all the security
Nintendo
measures.
did have a lockout chip on their cartridges, so you couldn't.
Yeah.
Later on, though, right?
Oh no,
No,
they had it
always-
from the very beginning.
Oh, did
yeah,
okay.
they've always had that.
Okay.
Yeah, because they you had to get licensed through them and stuff
Well, what
like
about
that.
the unlicensed games that the Bible games that they used to have?
They basically figured out how to recreate the lockout chip.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And
I'm saying for another day. Yes, you.
yeah, we'll talk about that. But I see, like I said, I don't play games at all, but I know a lot about the history of video games. So yeah, they did a lockout chip thing, but we can have Jamal back some other time to talk about the history of that type of stuff. But yeah, there's some interesting things, with Tengen. Tengen or Tengen. However you say it.
Tengen, Atari.
Which was owned by half of Atari because Atari had split at that point. It was into two different companies.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So yeah, we should do a whole history of Atari. That'd be fun. Yeah, I love Atari. Anyways, got an Atari from the neighbors next door who I basically got their grandkids Atari when I was a kid. So,
what kind was it? Do you know? Was it a 2600?
A 2600. I still have it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I gotta try to figure out if I can get it hooked up to the TV someday and play it. I still have a bunch of cartridges.
Oh, sweet.
I have the really bad Pac-Man. I have I don't have E.T. I don't have the bad E.T. game.
Bad
but
E.T.
No.
You gotta get Defender.
I think I might have Defender. I don't know. I have a bunch. I will tell you this, and this will tell you my speed of video games. My favorite video game of all time is Atari Bowling.
Okay.
That's all right. I mean,
and the reason I say that is because I used to play it for hours upon hours on my little black and white TV in my bedroom. And it was fun because I remember the sounds to this day. The little ball would go down the lane and it would go rum, 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 rum. And then if you got a strike, which you could almost always get because you could control the way the ball went after you left your hands. So I think that's why I liked it because I was good at it.
There's no challenge.
And, yes, and then you would get a strike and it would go woo 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 woo.
That's what strike sounds like.
So my mom and dad used to get pissed at me because I'd just be in my bedroom all day and all you'd hear all day in my bedroom was rum 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 woo 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 woo.
Wow.
Yeah, they weren't sure if you were running for the police. So
Yeah.
that was it. Well, you know what? The Atari was a little before my time, but my brother's favorite all-time game on Atari was Pong.
Oh yeah.
He loved playing Pong. So
I liked Pong, but I was never great at it. I don't know, but yeah.
I suck at it only when it started to speed up.
And I used to play the really bad Pac-Man all the time on there, but it was oh my god,
the graphics are terrible.
Oh god, it's like the worst port of a video game ever. It's just so bad.
You know what's a really good one though, even though it kind of sucks, is the Star Wars game, the first Star Wars.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just the end scene of the movie where you're fighting.
Where you're trying to blow up the Death Star.
Yeah, that's all it is. But it's
nice.
not that bad. It's very primitive, like graphics and stuff. But
what is good question for? I mean, do you have anything else to add to this about the XBand? And I got a couple questions before we end the show.
Even though hackers found a way to get in and get on different servers, and even though it was too slow, you see another big flaw to it was no matter how you try to change servers, it was still slow. You had the transfer rate was about 2,400 bits per second.
Now, so how was that like if you were playing like Mortal Kombat or something? Would your punches land late or anything, or what would you? I mean, I'm just wondering. Like,
yeah, they would you would do an uppercut and then an hour later finish him. Because computer games were much faster.
Yeah.
At that time than it was through the phone line. So yeah.
Be like, yeah, I punched this guy an hour ago, and now he's dead.
Yeah, just deliver the punch,
Imagine a car racing game, it's like, okay.
Yeah, then an hour later, and whatever you do, don't have somebody pick up the phone line.
Oh yeah,
remember those days?
Oh yeah,
that was the same thing.
Yeah.
I remember those days. Oh god,
automatically disconnect you.
I'd be on when I first got it, and I'd be on a AOL or something, or Earthlink or one of those types of things. One of those things where I'd get the free CD and I'd get a free month of some bullshit, and then
we had Mindspring.
Yeah.
Now you laugh over it oh my god.
Yeah, but remember those CDs the AOL and Earthlink. Earthlink got on later, but it was mainly AOL. But you'd get you basically you'd walk out your door and you'd have like 5 of them appear on your head. You know, it would just be like it was like there was more of those discs than there was air. It was just like
Don't even get me started with AOL.
Yeah,
because if you remember back then, the toughest thing to do was cancel service.
Oh yeah.
Oh, was that tough?
Yeah. It's still hard on certain things, you know, like certain services, like, you know, it's like you know, and then you got shit like the movie pass recently, like re-signing up people that canceled their subscriptions.
Oh, wow. Seriously?
Yeah, without their permission.
Yeah.
Wow.
They re-signed them up and then made them have to opt out legally. Otherwise, they were going to get charged monthly fees.
Yeah.
I was
and
actually
somehow this business is still operating as this recording.
I was thinking of buying one actually because I like to see movies. And
I know.
Well, if I could buy a pass, I could see a movie any day of the week. If I
yeah, but they keep changing the price and the number of movies you can see.
Oh, I see.
It's that whole, I don't understand that whole concept how they even ever make money.
Yeah,
because they pay,
that's how they make money is by signing people up again.
And then charging them.
Then you have to pay like a fee to get out of it. It's like a.
I mean, I think their main idea is it's kind of like they wanted to sign it up as like a gym membership sort of thing where, you know, you pay your monthly fee, but you never actually go there to use the gym membership. You know, like, you know, a lot of people will, you know, and then talk about things that are hard to get out of.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried, you know, like you know, I mean, a lot of these gyms nowadays, like, you know, they have, you know, you don't have to sign a contract, but if you ever sign a contract to a gym, I've done that before.
Oh yeah.
And, oh my God, I was so pissed. I'm going to go on a little diatribe here. There's probably no chance she's listening, but my ex-girlfriend and I signed up for for a membership to a gym once. And, then when she left me, she somehow took my card for the gym membership and it was still being charged to my credit card monthly. Wow. And her and her new boyfriend were going to the gym on my dime for a while. Yeah, until I had to try to explain to the gym. And then they still weren't going to cancel it for me because they said I was under contract. And I was like, I can't go to your gym because I don't have my membership card.
Right.
And they're like, well, we can get you a new membership card, but it'll cost you a fee. And I'm like,
well, wait a minute. Like,
and then I was like, can I take her? Can I at least just make it so you can't allow her and this other dude to go to the gym? And they're like, well, if they have the membership cards, they can come. And I'm like,
my God.
What the hell?
That's a circular logic. Like,
yeah. And I'm just like, I'm not paying for my ex-girlfriend to go. You know, it's just it's just like, I don't want to pay for her to work out and look better for her new dude.
Right.
You know?
exactly.
It's like they get to go work on their bods and then like, you know, it's like you're paying for it. It's like, what the fuck?
It's like, you know, how about get a membership to Weight Watchers or something?
Yeah.
It's like, seriously, you know?
I mean, my thing is pay your own membership. I don't give a shit. You know, it's like,
come on, Planet Fitness is $10. You know,
yeah.
come on now.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, at the time that didn't exist. It was like
That's
10
true.
years ago or so. But
That's true.
I mean, Planet, at least not locally, it didn't exist. It probably did exist somewhere. But anyways, so before we close out here, I just had a question for Jamal, since he's here. What is your favorite video game of all time on any system ever?
Ooh. Man, you put me in the hot seat right there. All right. I would have to say, on the NES, was Ninja Gaiden 2.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
I
actually still have the cartridge to that game.
Oh,
Awesome.
God. It's a great game.
And what about you, Matt?
Oh, man. On any system?
Yeah.
Can I do the games for each system that I like the most, or do I gotta pick one?
Well, you can pick a couple if you have a couple that are tied, you can do it. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, for the NES, probably definitely Super Mario Brothers 2 and 3.
Yes.
Definitely Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2. Castlevania, so many games.
Oh yeah.
Sega, Sonic 1 and 2, Mortal Kombat. I don't have just one game. I can't do one game.
Oh, I know.
SNES.
Yeah, right.
I know. With the SNES, Street Fighter 2. Or
nice.
all the Street Fighter 2s.
Which was also on XBand.
Was it?
Yes,
oh, that's right, because you can combat. You can,
Yep.
It might take a year to punch the guy, but
yeah. Oh, also F-Zero. F-Zero, the racing game.
Oh yeah.
God, I love that game. But yeah, that's pretty much it. PlayStation. I don't remember much from PlayStation, unfortunately. I don't know why, but I think I stopped playing games around that time.
Yeah.
A little bit for a while, so I don't have many memories. I remember there was this one weird game on PlayStation called Fox Hunt.
Okay.
Where it was basically like a movie, and you control what the people did, but
that's
like
cool.
it was so primitive because it was like all jerky and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But those are like my 5 favorite games, though. Basically, like on the Super Nintendo.
I mean, mine, you know, like I said, Atari Bowling, and
It's just a- yeah, that's it.
and then and then like, you know, because like the only 2 systems I ever owned were Atari and the original NES, and on the NES there was a couple different games I liked. I mean, obviously Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt, you know, that combo game that came with the system. I remember playing.
Yes.
I remember the night I got the NES.
Yes.
I was up all night. My mom comes downstairs and she's like, to go make breakfast or something. She's like, "You're still awake?" I'm like, "Yeah." Okay. And then I slept the rest of the day, I think. But I remember playing those, and then I liked it was weird when I got a little bit older. There was a game show called Remote Control that used to be on MTV.
Yes.
And they had a video game version of it, and it was so bad, but I loved it for some reason. I used to play it all the time. And
we used to have Jeopardy. We had the game Jeopardy.
Oh, we had Jeopardy as well. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I don't even think the remote control was mine. I think it was my sister's friend, who I think I lent her Tetris for a while so I could play the remote control. Like, we just switched discs, and
that's kind of what we did. One time we rented the game Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. We rented it, and I feel really bad to say this, but I never returned that game back.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're looking for me or not.
I think they probably.
Who'd you rent it from?
So it was a little store called Video Plus.
I'm pretty sure
I'm pretty sure if they're out of business, they're not looking for you. Yeah, just letting you know, Jamal. I mean, I've got a good chance of that.
I actually have a story about that, though. I don't think they're looking for you, because I knew a kid in my aunt's apartment complex when I was like 6 years old, and his family moved around like a lot. And he told me flat out, he's like, "Yeah, this is what me and my dad do. We, like, right before we move somewhere, we rent movies and games from a." Oh, God. He's literally admitting this to me. So I have like 40 games, or not 40, but whatever. I have like 20 games that we never returned because, and I'm like, he's just freely admitting this to me. I'm like, "Oh, that sounds awesome." So I go tell my parents, and they're like, "That's stealing." I'm like, "Oh, oops." Whatever.
Well, I mean, I've done something like that recently. I ordered some business cards online, and I did not do this on purpose, though. Mine was an accidental one. I ordered a bunch of business cards online. I put the box when I got it underneath my bed. Forgot I got it. I put it under there, and then I'm waiting for it to come in the mail. It already came, and I didn't realize I had already gotten it. And so I contacted people, and they sent me another box. I felt so bad about that, but I was like, whatever. I got like,
it was an accident.
1,000 free business cards. Anyways,
it was an accident.
It happens, sometimes.
See, but you're right. I'm not worried about the business being gone. But like, what if the owners see me one day at a supermarket and then we're out shopping? They're like, "That son of a
Well, how
bitch,
old
she
were
took
you
it."
at the time?
13.
They're probably not going to recognize
don't
you. It's like
do you look
22
the
years
same as you
later.
did when you were 13?
Well, I don't know. I did a 10-year challenge on Facebook. Who knows?
Just grow a beard like that guy from that band, and they don't recognize you. So what would they call it? I forgot the name. Boney something.
Boney M.
Boney M. Yeah.
Songs Rasputin.
There
We
you
listened
go.
to that right before we recorded this podcast too. Anyways, I don't know. As somebody who used to work at a video store myself, I will tell you that they don't give a shit. I'm just telling you, they don't care, Jamal. You're good. You can sleep well at night, I think.
All right.
I mean, at least for this. I mean, I don't know about other things, but I'm just joking. I don't know. You may have killed a guy in Reno just to watch him die, but I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, so tell us a little bit about your YouTube channel before we go here.
Absolutely. Name of my YouTube channel. I just started here earlier this month. It's called Gaming After Dark. And Gaming After Dark is it's a little bit of a hodgepodge of, like, from your retro classic games to even some of your modern day games as well. I also like to talk about like news reviews and also talk about what I call coming soon unboxing, where we're gonna display an item or something that's never been opened and basically open it up and and try it out. So that's what we're doing on Gaming After Dark. So.
And what's the best way to find that? Do you have Facebook or YouTube or how?
Yeah.
Both on there?
Yeah. What you can do is on Facebook, go to facebook.com/GamerJ84. And it's JAY, GamerJ84. Right now, I have to still build my base because YouTube has a little stipulation that if you have like over 50 subscribers, then you can get a custom URL. So
you don't have one yet. So,
no.
Okay. So
I only got 8.
But just do a search on YouTube for Gaming After Dark.
Yeah. You just go, just type that in, Gaming After Dark. And if you can't find it on YouTube, I am going to post like the videos on the Facebook page as well.
Okay.
So
that's awesome. Yeah. And so, anything you want to promote here today, Matthew?
No, not really.
Okay.
Not that I can think of.
All right. The only thing I want to promote is Mountain Dew. I love Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
It's a good it's a good drink. You know, when you need caffeine, you know, you can get that. I mean, unless you want to get the caffeine-free version, you can do that too.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Anyways, so.
It's good for your heart, you know.
Yeah, it's great. You know?
It's great.
Lots of sugar. I love you, PepsiCo. Please contact me at mike@cohenpark.com if you want to sponsor the show. Anyways, so yeah, you can find us on social media, on Facebook and all that good stuff. You know, All2ReelToo. And yeah, and be sure to tune in next time. That's it for today. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to All2ReelToo podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Haas. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.